Captain Jake Murphy stood on the bridge of the Harmony Dawn, watching the stars through the large window. The ship was carrying 2,000 passengers to the new colonies near Kepler. It was supposed to be a simple trip, nothing special. Jake had been flying ships for 20 years, and this kind of journey was routine for him. "Captain, we're getting strange readings on the scanner," said Lisa Parker, his navigation officer. She was looking at her screen with a worried face. "There are ships out there. Big ones." Jake walked over to her station and looked at the display. 7 large ships were moving toward them. They were unlike anything he had ever seen before. The ships looked smooth and elegant, like they were made of crystal and light. "Are they hostile?" asked Ryan Torres, the chief engineer. He was already reaching for the emergency controls, ready to power up the ship's defensive systems. "Unknown," Jake replied. He had learned to be careful during his years in space. "Amy, try to contact them." Amy Coleman, their communications officer, worked quickly at her station. After a few moments, she looked up with surprise. "Captain, they're responding, and they're speaking English." A voice came through the speakers. It was strange and musical, unlike any human voice. "Greetings, unknown vessel. We are the Valdari Confederation. We come in peace. We wish to meet your species." Jake felt his heart beating faster. This was first contact with an alien species. Earth had been looking for other intelligent life for hundreds of years. Now it was happening right here, on his ship. "This is Captain Jake Murphy of the Earth vessel Harmony Dawn," he replied. "We also come in peace." Within an hour, one of the alien ships had moved close to theirs. Jake could see it through the window. It was beautiful, covered in patterns that seemed to glow with their own light. A small shuttle left the alien ship and came toward them. "Should I alert the passengers?" asked Lisa. Jake thought for a moment. "Not yet. Let's see what they want first." The alien shuttle docked with their ship. Jake met the aliens at the airlock, along with Dr. Karen Wells, the ship's doctor. When the door opened, Jake saw his first alien. The being was tall and thin, with skin that looked like it was made of tiny crystals. Its eyes were large and kind, and it moved with grace. Behind it came 2 more aliens, both looking curious and friendly. "I am Fleet Commander Zefkol," the first alien said. Its voice was the same musical tone they had heard over the radio. "We are honored to meet your species." "Welcome aboard," Jake said, trying to stay calm. "Would you like to see our ship?" The aliens were fascinated by everything they saw. Jake showed them through the passenger areas where people were eating, playing games, and watching movies. The aliens seemed amazed by human art and music. "Your species creates beauty for its own sake," Commander Zefkol observed. "This shows great wisdom and peace." Dr. Wells joined them as they walked through the medical bay. The alien healers were very interested in human medicine. They asked many questions about how humans treated illness and injury. "We have learned that all intelligent species develop healing arts," one of the alien doctors said. "It shows that wisdom and compassion grow together." Dr. Wells smiled, but Jake noticed she was being careful about what she told them. She talked about treating diseases and helping people, but she didn't mention anything about treating battle wounds or trauma from violence. The tour continued to the ship's laboratories, where human scientists were working on different projects. The aliens were impressed by human curiosity and the desire to learn new things. "Your people seek knowledge like we do," Commander Zefkol said. "This is another sign of an advanced civilization." Jake showed them to the observation deck, where many passengers had gathered to look at the alien ships. The aliens were delighted to meet regular humans, not just the crew. They talked with families, artists, and teachers. "We have traveled to many worlds," Commander Zefkol explained to a group of children. "In all our experience, any species that reaches the stars has learned to live in peace. Violence is something that intelligent beings leave behind as they grow wise." Jake felt uncomfortable hearing this. He knew it wasn't true for humans, but he didn't want to ruin this first meeting. Earth's instructions were clear. Make a good impression and avoid anything that might seem threatening. Later that evening, Jake sat in his private cabin with his senior officers. They were all excited about the contact, but also worried. They Seem to think all space-traveling species are peaceful, Lisa said. Should we tell them about our history? Earth Command was very clear, Jake replied. We present ourselves as explorers and traders. We don't mention wars or weapons unless directly asked. Ryan looked troubled. But what if they find out later? Won't they feel deceived? Dr. Wells spoke up. I've been talking with their medical team. They've never treated combat injuries. Their entire understanding of medicine is based on natural healing and disease treatment. They don't even have concepts for the kind of trauma that comes from violence. That's hard to believe, Amy said. How did they develop space travel without any conflicts? Maybe they're just better than us, Jake said quietly. Maybe reaching the stars really does require leaving violence behind. The next morning, Commander Zefkol invited Jake to visit the alien flagship. Jake took Lisa and Dr. Wells with him. The alien ship was even more beautiful inside than outside. Everything was designed for beauty and comfort. We are part of a confederation of 7 species, Commander Zefkol explained as they walked through, gardens that somehow grew inside the ship. We have been exploring space for 1,000 years, trading and learning from each other. They met representatives from the other alien species. All of them were curious and friendly. They asked many questions about Earth and human culture. We would like to invite your species to join our confederation, Commander Zefkol said. You seem to share our values of peace and knowledge. Jake felt a mix of pride and guilt. The aliens liked humans because they thought humans were peaceful like them. But Jake knew the truth. Humans had fought wars throughout their history. Now there were conflicts on Earth and the colonies. We would be honored, Jake said carefully, but we would need to discuss this with our government on Earth. Of course, the alien commander replied. We understand the importance of proper procedures. As they prepared to leave the alien ship, Commander Zefkol gave Jake a small crystal device. This will allow us to communicate across space. We hope this is the beginning of a long friendship between our peoples. Back on the Harmony Dawn, Jake looked at the crystal device and wondered what would happen when the aliens learned the truth about humanity. Would they still want to be friends when they discovered that humans were not the peaceful species they appeared to be? He decided that was a problem for another day. For now, he would follow his orders and present humanity in the best possible light. The future of human-alien relations might depend on it. The Harmony Dawn continued on its journey, but everything had changed. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and Jake Murphy had become one of the most important people in human history, whether he wanted to be or not. 3 months had passed since first contact with the Valdari. The Harmony Dawn now docked at Synthesis Station, a massive trading hub floating in space. Jake Murphy had never seen anything like it. The station was the size of a small moon, with ships from 7 different alien species coming and going constantly. Human passengers from the Harmony Dawn were exploring the station with wonder. Children pressed against viewing windows, watching alien creatures that looked like walking trees trade with beings made of living crystal. Artists sketched everything they saw, while scientists took notes on alien technology. The humans are very popular, Lisa Parker told Jake as they walked through the main market area. Everyone wants to talk to them and learn about Earth culture. Jake nodded, watching a group of alien musicians playing alongside human performers. The music was strange but beautiful, mixing sounds no human had ever heard before. Near them, alien children were learning to play human games while human children tried to understand alien puzzles. Captain Murphy, came a familiar musical voice. Commander Zefkol approached with several other high-ranking aliens. The High Council has made a decision. We would like to offer humanity full membership in the Valdari Confederation. Jake felt his heart jump. This was huge news. Full membership would give humans access to alien technology and trade routes that could change everything for Earth. We are honored, Jake replied carefully. What does membership involve? Come with us to the council chambers, Commander Zefkol said. We will explain everything. The council chambers were in the center of the station. Jake brought Lisa, Ryan, Amy, and Dr. Wells with him. The room was enormous, with representatives from all 7 alien species sitting in a circle. Each species looked completely different, but all of them had the same calm, peaceful expression. Humans have shown great wisdom and creativity in these past months, said Counselor Virental, a being that looked like it was made of flowing water. Your art, your science, your capacity for friendship, these are the marks of a truly advanced civilization. We have decided to share our most protected technologies with you, added another counselor that resembled a giant butterfly. Faster ships, better computers, medical devices that can heal almost any injury. Jake tried to look pleased, but he felt worried. These aliens were offering humans incredible gifts, but they were doing it because they believed humans were something they were not. However, Commander Zefkol continued, we must also share troubling news. The Korthak swarm is approaching this sector of space. The mood in the room became serious. Jake noticed that even mentioning this name made the aliens look frightened. What is the Korthak swarm? Dr. Wells asked. Counselor Virental began to explain. They are a species that consumes entire star systems. They travel from world to world, taking all resources and leaving nothing alive behind them. They have destroyed dozens of civilizations over the past 1,000 years. How do you fight them? Jake asked. The aliens looked at him with confusion. Fight them? Commander Zefkol said. We do not fight. We evacuate and negotiate. We have perfected the art of strategic retreat, Virental said with pride. When the Korthaks approach, we move our populations to safety. We have calculated that by abandoning the Outer Rim territories, we can delay their advance by another century. Jake stared at them. You're going to abandon entire star systems? What about the billions of people living there? They will be relocated, the butterfly counselor explained. It is unfortunate, but it is the only logical solution. Fighting leads only to greater losses. After the meeting, Jake and his officers walked back to their ship in silence. Finally, Ryan spoke up. They're just going to run away and let the Korthaks destroy everything. It's worse than that, Lisa said. I've been looking at their historical records. Every time they've faced any aggressive species, they've done the same thing. They retreat, they negotiate, they sacrifice territory. They've never won a single military victory because they've never fought. Amy looked confused. But how did they become so advanced? How did they build this confederation? They only met other peaceful species, Dr. Wells explained. Every alien race they've contacted has been like them, completely nonviolent. They think that's how all intelligent life works. Back on the Harmony Dawn, Jake called a meeting with his senior staff. They gathered in his private cabin away from any alien listeners. We have a problem, Jake said. These aliens have given us amazing technology and friendship, but they think we're something we're not. What happens when they find out about human history? Maybe we don't have to tell them, Amy suggested. We could just keep it secret. Lisa shook her head. It won't work. Sooner or later, they'll learn about our wars, our weapons, our entire military history. When they do, they'll feel betrayed. Dr. Wells had been quiet, but now she spoke up. I've been working with their medical teams. They don't even have words for combat injuries. When I tried to explain trauma from violence, they couldn't understand the concept. Their minds literally cannot grasp the idea of intelligent beings hurting each other on purpose. So what do we do? Ryan asked. Before Jake could answer, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed, and announcements were made in several alien languages. Amy quickly connected to the station's communication system. There's been an attack, she reported. Korthak scouts hit a border station. Thousands are dead. Jake and his team rushed to the command center, where alien officials were coordinating the response. On the main screen, they could see images from the attacked station. It was horrible. Buildings destroyed, ships torn apart, and bodies floating in space. Begin evacuation procedures for sectors 7 through 12, Commander Zefkol ordered. We must pull our populations back to the safe zones. What about defense? Jake asked. Aren't you going to send ships to protect the evacuating civilians? The aliens looked at him strangely. Our ships are not designed for combat, Zefkol explained. They are for transportation and research. We will negotiate with the Korthaks for safe passage of our refugees. Jake watched in disbelief as the aliens began their retreat. Ships loaded with frightened families were leaving their homes, heading deeper into Confederation space. No one was fighting back. No one was even trying to slow down the Korthax advance. Over the next few days, Jake learned more about the Korthax through alien records. They were not just consuming resources, they were hunting the fleeing populations for sport. They had learned that the Confederation species would never fight back, so they were taking their time, enjoying the fear they created. Amy intercepted some Korthax communications and translated them. The messages were full of cruel laughter about the cowardly prey species that ran away without ever defending themselves. They're not just taking resources, Amy reported. They're playing with the aliens like cats play with mice. They know there will be no resistance, so they're making it into a game. The breaking point came when the Korthax targeted a refugee convoy carrying 50,000 alien children. The convoy was moving slowly, loaded with families who had already lost their homes. Jake was in the command center when the news came in. Commander Zefkol received the report with his usual calm expression. "We must abandon the convoy," Zefkol announced. "It is the logical choice. If we try to rescue them, we will lose even more lives. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few." Jake stared at him. "You're going to let 50,000 children die? It is regrettable, but it is mathematics," the alien commander replied. "By saving the convoy, we would expose our main fleet to attack. We could lose hundreds of thousands instead of 50,000. That night, Jake couldn't sleep. He walked the corridors of the Harmony Dawn, thinking about those alien children and about the choice their own leaders had made to abandon them. He found Dr. Wells in the medical bay, staring at alien medical equipment. "They've never had to make these choices before," she said quietly. "In their entire history, they've never faced a situation where someone had to die so others could live." "But we have," Jake said. "Yes. Humans understand sacrifice. We understand fighting for something bigger than ourselves. These aliens don't, and now they're going to watch their entire civilization die because they can't learn to fight." Jake made his decision that night. The aliens had been good to humanity and they didn't deserve to be destroyed by creatures like the Korthax. But saving them would mean revealing the truth about human nature. The next morning, he would have to tell Commander Zefkol and the High Council exactly what humans really were. Jake Murphy stood outside the High Council chambers, his hands shaking slightly. Behind the doors, Commander Zefkol and the other alien leaders were discussing the loss of the refugee convoy. 50,000 children and their families were dead, and the aliens were calling it acceptable losses. Lisa Parker stood beside him. "Are you sure about this, Captain? Once we tell them the truth, there's no going back." "Those children didn't have to die," Jake said quietly. "The aliens think running away is the only option because they've never learned any other way. Maybe it's time they did." He pushed open the doors and walked into the council chamber. The 7 alien species were seated in their circle, their faces showing the calm acceptance that Jake had learned to recognize. They accepted tragedy the same way they accepted everything else, as something that couldn't be changed. "Captain Murphy," Commander Zefkol said, "we were just discussing relocation plans for the next wave of refugees. Perhaps humans could help with transportation?" "No," Jake said firmly. "We need to talk about fighting back." The room became very quiet. The aliens looked at each other with confusion. "Fighting is not the way," Counselor Virental said gently. "Violence only creates more violence. This is a truth known by all civilized species." Jake took a deep breath. "That's not true. Humans know how to fight, and we've been doing it for thousands of years." The statement hit the aliens like a physical blow. Several of them actually stepped backward. Commander Zefkol's crystalline face showed something Jake had never seen before: shock and horror. "That's impossible," the Butterfly Counselor said. "No species can develop space travel while still practicing warfare. The technologies would be too dangerous." "Humans did," Jake replied. "We fought wars on our home planet, wars in space, wars on colony worlds. We've been fighting each other and other threats for our entire history." Dr. Wells entered the chamber carrying a medical tablet. "I can prove it," she said. "Human bodies are designed for combat. Our stress response system, our adrenaline production, our pain tolerance, it's all evolved for fighting. She showed them scans of human biology, explaining how human muscles could produce sudden bursts of strength, how human minds could function under extreme stress, and how human bodies could survive injuries that would kill most other species. This is why human medicine includes trauma surgery, she continued. We've spent centuries learning how to repair battle damage because we've spent centuries creating it. Ryan Torres stepped forward. Our ships are built for war too. Even civilian vessels like the Harmony Dawn have defensive systems built in. We hide weapons inside cargo holds and passenger areas. The aliens were staring at the humans like they were looking at monsters. Commander Zefkol's voice was barely a whisper. You are predators. We're survivors, Jake corrected. And right now your people need survivors. Amy Coleman had been monitoring Korthak's communications. The swarm is moving faster, she reported. They've detected the main refugee fleet and they're hunting it like animals. They're not just taking resources anymore, they're enjoying the fear. This is what happens when a violent species meets one that has never learned to defend itself, Jake explained. The Korthaks aren't just destroying you. They're playing with you because they know you'll never fight back. Counselor Virental was shaking, her water-like form rippling with distress. But if we fight, we become like them. We become monsters. No, Dr. Wells said firmly. There's a difference between fighting to destroy and fighting to protect. Humans learned that difference long ago. Lisa Parker brought up tactical displays showing the current Korthak's positions. They're using your own predictability against you. They know exactly how you'll retreat because you always do the same thing. But if you start fighting back, they won't know how to respond. We don't know how to fight, Commander Zefkol said, helplessly. We have no weapons, no tactics, no understanding of warfare. But we do, Jake said. Humans can teach you. We can show you how to defend your people without becoming killers. The next few hours were the longest of Jake's life. The aliens argued among themselves in their musical languages, their voices rising and falling in patterns he couldn't understand. Some seemed terrified of the humans, while others appeared desperate enough to try anything. Finally, Commander, Zefkol spoke. If we agree to this, what would you require? First, we need to contact Earth, Jake said. We'll need military advisors and proper warships. Second, we need to modify some of your ships for combat. Third, you need to be willing to learn tactics that might seem cruel but are necessary for survival. And in return, we save your civilization, Jake replied simply. The vote was close. 4 species voted to accept human help, while 3 voted to continue their traditional retreat. It was enough. Within hours, Amy Coleman was sending urgent messages to Earth through the crystal communication device. The message was simple but shocking. First contact successful. Aliens need military assistance against hostile force. Request: immediate deployment of defense fleet. While they waited for Earth's response, Jake began teaching the aliens basic military concepts. He started with the most important lesson. Sometimes you have to risk some lives to save more lives. You were willing to sacrifice 50,000 children to save your main fleet, he told Commander Zefkol. That's already military thinking. The only difference is that instead of just abandoning them, we would have sent fighters to give them a chance. Dr. Wells worked with alien engineers to modify their ships. The aliens were amazed to discover that their own technology could be adapted for warfare. Their precise manufacturing could create armor. Their communication systems could coordinate attacks, and their fast engines could be used for hit-and-run tactics. Ryan Torres was in his element, showing alien technicians how to install defensive systems and how to design ships that could survive damage. Human engineering is all about redundancy, he explained. We assume things will break, so we build multiple backups. Lisa Parker taught alien pilots about combat maneuvers and tactical formation flying. The aliens were natural pilots, but they had never considered using their skills aggressively. The first test came sooner than expected. A Korthak scouting force detected the modified alien ships and moved to attack. The aliens were terrified, but Jake was with them. commanding from the bridge of a converted science vessel. "Remember," he told Commander Zefkol, who was piloting the lead ship, "they're expecting you to run. Do the opposite." The battle was brief but decisive. The Korthax, scouts expecting easy prey, found themselves facing coordinated attacks from ships that fought back with surprising effectiveness. For the first time in their history, the aliens won a military victory. Commander Zefkol stared at the tactical display showing the destroyed Korthax ships. "We killed them," he said quietly. "You defended yourselves," Jake corrected. "There's a difference." News of the victory spread quickly through the Confederation. Some aliens were horrified that their people had become warriors, but others began to hope for the first time in months. "Earth fleet arriving in 6 hours," Amy reported. "Admiral Susan Blake is requesting permission to take command of defensive operations." Jake looked around at the aliens who had become his friends and allies. They were no longer the purely peaceful beings he had first met. They were still kind and wise. But now they also had the courage to fight for what they believed in. "Permission granted," Commander Zefkol said. "We are ready to learn what it means to be warriors." The real war was about to begin. Admiral Susan Blake arrived with 50 Earth Defense Fleet ships, but Jake Murphy barely recognized the Harmony Dawn anymore. The luxury cruise ship now bristled with weapon systems and armor plating. Hidden compartments had opened to reveal missile launchers and energy cannons that the aliens had never suspected were there. "Every human civilian ship is designed to convert to military use," Admiral Blake explained to the assembled alien commanders. "We learned long ago that peace is only possible when you're prepared for war." Commander Zefkol studied the tactical displays showing both fleets. The human ships looked small compared to the massive alien vessels, but Jake could see the aliens were beginning to understand that size wasn't everything in warfare. "The Korthax main swarm will reach the Nexus Gate in 18 hours, Lisa Parker reported from her position at the navigation station. "If they take that hyperspace junction, they can reach the core worlds within days." Dr. Wells had been working with alien scientists to analyze Korthax biology and psychology. "They're a hive mind," she explained. "Individual Korthax can't think for themselves. They're controlled by queen ships that coordinate their actions. So if we destroy the queens, the workers become helpless," Admiral Blake said. "That's our target." Ryan Torres had spent the past week modifying alien ships with human technology. The results were impressive. Alien vessels now had human weapons powered by alien energy systems, creating weapons more powerful than either species could build alone. "The aliens' precision manufacturing is incredible," Ryan told Jake. "Their weapons are more accurate than anything we've ever built. Combined with our tactical systems, they're going to be devastating." Amy Coleman was coordinating communications between human and alien forces. "The mixed crews are working well together," she reported. "The aliens are fast learners when it comes to military tactics." Jake looked around the command center. Human officers worked alongside aliens from 7 different species. A few weeks ago, these aliens had never even considered violence. Now they were preparing to fight for their civilization's survival. The first phase of the battle began at the outer edge of the Nexus Gate system. Human fighters, small and fast, darted between the massive Korthax ships like insects around giants. But these insects had stingers. "Target their communication arrays," Admiral Blake commanded over the fleet channel. "Cut the queens off from their drones." Lisa Parker piloted the converted Harmony Dawn with precision that amazed the alien crew members. The ship that had once carried families on vacation now led attack formations against enemy capital ships. "Korthax forces are breaking formation," Amy reported. "They're not used to prey that fights back." The second phase involved the modified alien ships. Commander Zefkol led a squadron of former science vessels, now armed with hybrid human-alien weapons. The aliens had learned to fight, but they still fought to protect rather than to destroy. "Remember," Jake told Zefkol over the radio, "you're not becoming monsters. You're becoming guardians." The alien commander's response came back strong and clear. "We understand the difference now, Jake Murphy. We fight not because we hate what is in front of us, but because we love what is behind us." The Korthax queens were massive ships, each one controlling thousands of drone vessels. They had never faced organized resistance before, and their tactics were designed for hunting fleeing prey, not fighting determined defenders. Dr. Wells had identified the Queen's weakness. They communicate through biological signals, she explained over the command channel. If we can disrupt those signals with the right frequency, we can cause confusion in their ranks. Ryan Torres had built signal jammers using both human and alien technology. Activating jammers now, he reported. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Korthak's drone ships began flying in circles, their connection to the Queen severed. Some crashed into each other, while others simply stopped moving entirely. Now, Admiral Blake commanded. All ships, target the Queen vessels. The combined human-alien fleet attacked with coordination that the Korthaks had never encountered. Human tactics guided alien precision, creating devastating attacks that crippled the Queen ships one by one. Jake watched as Commander Zefkol's ship delivered the final blow to the largest Queen. The alien commander who had once believed that all violence was evil had just saved billions of lives by destroying the enemy command ship. Queen ships neutralized, Lisa reported. Remaining Korthak's forces are retreating in disorder. But the victory came with a cost. Several human ships had been destroyed and many alien vessels were badly damaged. Jake saw alien crew members mourning their fallen comrades, learning for the first time what it meant to lose friends in battle. Admiral Blake gathered the surviving commanders for a final briefing. This battle is over, but the war isn't finished. There are more Korthak swarms out there. The galaxy needs to be ready for them. Commander Zefkol stood before the mixed group of human and alien officers. Today we learned that there is a difference between being peaceful and being helpless. We can remain a civilization that values life and compassion, but we must also be willing to defend those values when they are threatened. Dr. Wells addressed the alien medical staff who had been treating wounded from both species. Healing and fighting are not opposites, she told them. Sometimes you must fight so that you can continue to heal. In the weeks that followed, the Human Valdari Defense Compact was established. Earth would provide military training and protection, while the Alien Confederation would share their advanced technology and peaceful wisdom. Jake found himself promoted to fleet captain, commanding mixed human-alien crews throughout the sector. The Harmony Dawn became the flagship of the new alliance, a symbol of how former enemies could become protectors. Amy Coleman established the first interspecies military communication protocols, allowing instant coordination between species that had never worked together before. Her systems would become the foundation for galactic defense networks. Lisa Parker founded the Alliance Naval Academy, where young humans and aliens learned to serve together. The first graduation ceremony included students from 9 different species, all committed to protecting peaceful civilizations. Ryan Torres became the chief of Alliance Engineering, developing new technologies that combined the best of human, military innovation with alien scientific advancement. His hybrid ships would patrol the galaxy for generations. Dr. Wells created the Interspecies Military Medical Corps, teaching alien healers how to treat combat injuries while maintaining their commitment to preserving life. Her protocols saved countless lives in future conflicts. Commander Zefkol was elected as the first Supreme Commander of the Alliance Defense Force. Under his leadership, the Alliance grew to include dozens of species, all protected by the principle that peace was worth fighting for. The news of humanity's warrior nature spread throughout the galaxy. Some species were frightened, but many others came seeking alliance and protection. The galaxy learned that strength and compassion could exist together. Years later, Jake Murphy stood on the bridge of the Harmony Dawn, now Admiral Murphy of the Alliance Fleet. Through the viewports, he could see ships from 20 different species working together to patrol the space lanes. A young alien officer approached him. "Admiral, incoming message from the Outer Rim. Another peaceful species is requesting Alliance protection against raiders." Jake smiled. "Set course for their location. It's time to teach some raiders that preying on the innocent has consequences." The galaxy had learned the shocking truth about humans, and that truth had set it free. Warriors and peacekeepers, protectors and healers. Humans had shown that civilization's greatest strength came not from avoiding conflict, but from knowing when conflict was necessary to protect what mattered most. Peace was no longer just the absence of war. It was something worth fighting for.